Hey everyone, my pleasure to be here. My name is Moritz Seibert. I'm the CIO of Exponential H Asset Management, and I'm running a interview series with some of the world's most exciting crypto hedge funds. Today, I'll be speaking to Parataxis, to Ed and TJ. Very much looking forward to that. We'll speak about, all things crypto trading in Bitcoin and in altcoins. So hey guys, welcome to Real Vision.
Hey Moritz, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Moritz.
Just to get things going, if you could give us your background, why are you trading crypto today? Did you always trade crypto? What did you do before you traded crypto, if anything? Just give us a little bit of a background so that people better understand who you guys are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Ed Chin, co-founder, CEO of Parataxis Capital. I spent my formative years as a U.S. military officer before spending about a decade as a tech media telecom banker on Wall Street. I joined Lehman Brothers in 2008, a month before the bankruptcy, and just as the Bitcoin white paper was being published. I joined the digital asset space from an institutional perspective in 2017 to run the advisory business at a firm called the Element Group. It was one of the earliest merchant banks operating in the space. On the other side of the Chinese wall, managing firms, asset management business is my co-founder and CIO, Thejas, who's also on the call. I ended up working at Galaxy Digital for a year before launching Parataxis Capital with Thejas 2 years ago. From the very beginning, our focus was to build, what we thought would be a funds platform processing team that would appeal to large, sophisticated institutional allocators that were looking to gain exposure to this space. But I'll pause there and turn up to Thejas.
Perfect. Thanks, Ed. Moritz, like Ed, my background is traditional finance as well. I spent most of my early life on a trading floor, spent about a decade at Goldman Sachs. It just so happens in 2012 on a trading floor at Goldman is where I learned about Bitcoin. And some of my colleagues at the time were mining Bitcoin personally at a time when it made sense to. And they were trading. This is pre-Mt. Gox. So that's when I first got my introduction to the space. I followed the space for many years, having invested in Bitcoin and some other interesting names over the years before deciding to jump into this space full time in 2017. I joined the Element Group with Ed and built and launched a hedge fund with that team from scratch. The strategy I was running was more relative value, taking what I knew from traditional finance and trying to look for arbitrage opportunities in the crypto markets. Many of the ideas that I was researching made its way into the fund platform that we built today. But I've been in the crypto space professionally since 2017.
Wow, interesting. So 4 or 5 years and counting, 2017. So what was the idea behind Parataxis? It's amazing. Did you look at the space from a viewpoint of there's alpha opportunities, there's arbitrage opportunities because it's a nascent market and there's a lot of structure in the market that can be discovered and exploited, or maybe a combination, or more from a viewpoint of, this is an adoption business. This is just gonna be moving higher because people will be using blockchains and digital assets. And back then in 2017, nobody was talking about NFTs. Nobody was talking about the metaverse, at least to my understanding. So it was more like, take Ethereum higher, take some of these altcoins higher, take Bitcoin higher. Was that your view, or how did you see the world back then?
Yeah, so I think like most of us in the space, we recognize that there's going to be massive value creation with this asset class. For me personally, I saw a new financial ecosystem being architected right before our eyes. As a trader, coming into the equity markets right out of college, it was still already a very efficient asset class. It's very different as opposed to crypto, which is very inefficient. It's brand new, it's nascent. There were brokers at the time, exchanges at the time. It was very fragmented. So for us, we saw an opportunity to take what we knew from our previous lives and really apply it to a brand new asset class. I think the reason why the investment opportunity even exists in this space is because it is so complex. There are barriers to entry, and like I said, the market's completely inefficient. We think a pure passive style of investing, where you're just buying and holding, it can work at times when the market's moving higher, of course, but just given a vol profile of crypto, you just subject yourself to massive drawdowns. So we thought an active style of investment management made more sense. We recognize that the market it tends to reinvent itself every 6 to 12 months. So really, and that's a result of it just being very young. And so there are strategies that may have worked in the past that may not necessarily work in the future. So we thought not only an actively managed style of approach makes sense, but a multi-strategy style of approach made the most sense. So we're a multi-strategy fund. We really target 3 sources of returns that we're happy to go into. But our view is that if we can tactically deploy capital to where the most investment opportunities are, we can consistently earn a rate of return for our investors over the next decade.
Got it. So what do you do today with Parataxis? I mean, let's look at some of the details of, the trading strategies that you run. Of course, you're not going to be giving away any of the secret sauce here. That's fine. But, for the audience to better understand how you guys trade, what type of tokens and coins you're looking at, how the operations run, all of this type of stuff. So maybe we start with just the universe of tokens that you trade and market data acquisition. You've just mentioned, TJ, that there's barriers to entry. What do you think those barriers to entry are, and why could it be difficult for other firms to enter the space?
Sure. So there's barriers to entry because, one, the space is still very, very new. The ecosystem and the players involved, they sort of all grew to outside of traditional rails. So the knowledge base that we've taken in over the past several years, for us, it's a source of edge. But it's very difficult to just go from from traditional Wall Street and apply the same knowledge base you have and have the same level of edge. So it's a new ecosystem that just got built outside of traditional rails. So I think it'll take time for a traditional players to enter the space at scale. I just read a headline today that I think Goldman put out its first OTC trade on a non-deliverable forward. This is a trade structure that's existed in crypto for several years. These things trade every single day in the OTC markets, but it takes a long time for a traditional player to enter the space, just given the fact that it's not regulated, or it's slowly getting more regulated, given that the actual players themselves, the market makers, the exchanges, the brokers, the funds like us, we tend to live outside of outside of traditional rails.
Moritz, the other point I'd make, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I guess Moritz, the other point that I'd make is outside of the ecosystem and the infrastructure that Thejas is describing, which is obviously completely brand new and foreign to folks that are looking to gain exposure to the sector, the underlying technology and the KPIs that can help an investor or somebody looking to gain exposure identify value are completely different. If I think about traditional bond investing, there's a fair amount of credit analysis that goes into that, or in equity investing, it's a function of identifying the key drivers of earnings power. In this sector, those KPIs that may have worked or have been traditionally tracked in the traditional world have to be kind of thought through a different lens or reapplied, just given the underlying technology usage and the adoption curves are completely different.
Got it. So regarding trading, I think, we had a little bit of a prep call on the weekend, and you explained to me that, you're essentially looking at 3 to 4 buckets at Parataxis that are different from one another. And each of these buckets do different things. Maybe we start with one, which is, I think, more of a market neutral, uncorrelated, shorter term, maybe mean reversion. I mean, you give us the details. That type of systematic quant-driven trading bucket that you run. It would be great if you could give us some background as to what you're doing there.
Sure. So the systematic strategies that we run are within our non-correlated bucket. We believe volatility is a function of this ecosystem that will persist for quite a while. So it made sense to take advantage of that volatility. So we trade really the most liquid crypto assets, let's say top 5, and look for intraday opportunities. So this could be mean reversion, this could be momentum, this could be relative value, where we are long one asset, short the other. But it is non-correlated because we're not holding positions overnight. We generally are trading inversely to the market momentum at the time. So over a long enough time horizon, we're uncorrelated. Sometimes we're even inversely correlated. As a result, it's a source of yield. It's a source of alpha, and that really adds some juice to our overall book. And just to bring it back, our non-correlated book, like you said, is one source of return we target. The other two are really are a function of our view that trends exist in the ecosystem. So we do quite a bit of trend following trading in our macro bucket. And this is really where we live and breathe in the top 20. Again, playing directional trends and relative value trends. And then in our thesis-driven book is where we look for more fundamental value, do quite a bit of bottoms-up research on really the entire ecosystem and look for value plays. But then our non-correlated book, just to bring it back, is really where we are either trading intraday on a shorter time horizon or looking for any sort of arbitrage opportunity that is just uncorrelated to Bitcoin beta.
Hey, if you like this clip, be sure to check out the full interview and more only on realvision.com/crypto. It's 100% free. Sign up now.